Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rock and Roll Brunch podcast. Today, episode number 10, no agenda. We're talking about everything related to being a father, celebrating Father's Day. So stick with us. Do you got a dad mug, Dane?
No, I just got my big mug.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong camera.
I got a cool new. This is actually one of my favorite things I've got. This is my Father's Day gift that I got. Super Dad.
My favorite thing about that mug is it's the first mug you see when you go to like a promo purchasing website.
Oh, for sure.
Here's
for sure.
keychains. Here's
That's
the thing.
yeah.
It's like a pile of Super Dad.
Yeah,
mugs.
like it's cheesy enough. Like it's it was Allie got it for me, and it was like intentionally like.
Perfect,
It's like it might as well have been a dad tie. Like it had to. It was like that on the nose, and it made me laugh really hard.
It's very clip arty.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like
Microsoft Word art-ish.
Super Dad.
Yeah. When it would like take you to that like dialogue box, and you could type in all your.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, welcome. This is the Rock and Roll Brunch podcast, episode number 10. My name is Josh Marcanti. With me, as always, two other super dads, Mr. Dane Urbach. Dane, how are you today?
Good. But I don't feel like you're qualified to judge me as a dad, so I don't know that you know that I'm a super dad.
Well, I'm going to judge you based on the fact that your kids are still alive.
Thanks. All right.
Yeah, but I think there's like a multiplier effect here. Like
That's
with
true.
He's allowed 3 of them to still
you've
live.
managed to keep 3 children alive, so I think
Yeah.
that makes you a super dad. I mean, how much emotional trauma they have.
Wouldn't that be a notch above super dad, though? I'm just saying. We'll have to think of something. Okay.
The other super dad you heard is one Mr. Chris Marcanti. Chris, good morning.
No, I just have one that I've kept alive, which might make me the least qualified super dad.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Like mediocre dad, not super
Agreed.
dad.
Haven't
You know
quite
what?
ascended to super yet.
You know what's funny about that though, specifically is like there's no, I don't know if there's really a grade, because like if you didn't keep that one, like it's not like, oh, he's like not like, if that one didn't make it, everyone's not like, hey, he's an okay dad and we'll try again on the next one. It's like,
yeah.
He's also in jail.
I think you say like that's a shitty dad at that point. Like if you lost the one that you had,
didn't make it. Although turn of the century, before then they were popping out kids because some of them wouldn't make it, but some of the some still super dads.
This
still
has already
existed.
gone off the rails, guys.
Can you imagine like our Father's Day episode? Well, Chris did have a kid. I don't know. Anyway.
We had to eject him from the next year's podcast celebrating Father's Day. It didn't make it. Recently, in between episode 9 and episode 10, Father's Day did happen. So we wanted to today have no agenda. Actually, it's going to do something a little bit different. We just today wanted to celebrate fatherhood, celebrate being dads. If these guys are anything like me, it's the best part about being alive is being a dad. It's the greatest thing we have going on. So we'll take a second and we'll just talk about being dads and specifically maybe how it relates to our music lives as well. So first things first, Dane, what are you drinking today, buddy?
Oh, I'm back to just boring old Walmart coffee, guys. I've sped through all my fancy stuff. So I jumped from just coffee to my pound of Peace coffee.
No.
And nobody asked me about those. So now I'm back to like, hey, what's on sale right now at Walmart that's fair trade and organic? Oh, there's that Safeway Select stuff. We'll just get that. So that's what it's good.
Good.
Safeway Select.
Sure. Or something.
I'm also very sorry that I didn't ask you about your Peace coffee.
I'm not bitter about it. It's cool.
Yeah.
No,
Is that a coffee joke? Chris, what are you drinking today? Chris, what are you drinking today?
I went to Just Coffee. We were making fun of Dane for I had texted you this, Dane, as well. We were making fun of you for Just Coffee, and this.
By the way, I feel bad for making fun of him for Just Coffee, because like when you do go check it out, it is actually pretty awesome.
The artwork is super rad on the bags. It's what caught my eye, and I don't remember what this one is. It's not bike whatever. Yikes!
That's
Easy.
all right.
All right.
Yeah. It's
it's early. Coffee hasn't
just
kicked
good.
in yet.
It's just coffee. I'm
it's
drinking
just
coffee.
it's just good.
Just good. It's
All right,
delicious.
there you go. I had a little panic moment this morning because I do the K cups because we're fast coffee drinkers here, and I thought there wasn't any, but thank God I found some in the way back. I had to make I had to make my own. It's just Starbucks Columbia.
Oh.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Gross.
Yeah, no, it's good though. It gets the job.
So
It gets
bitter.
the job done.
It's like
No, the Columbia one is pretty not bitter. So.
If we were like a coffee podcast, this would be a pretty weird, like covering all the bases, like the cheapest possible, like coffee on sale, the fancy stuff that you've got to order from like an independent coffee company, and then Starbucks K cups.
Yeah, it runs the gamut.
cover the ground all around.
I keep winking at the camera, but I have a feeling most of the listeners, like there's this awkward silence when I make jokes. Like when you're like, was that a coffee joke? And no response, just a wink. But nobody heard it.
I just want it to be known that I
Just
keep
dead air.
winking at the camera. I just really want that to be known.
I just needed to say that out loud so everyone got my jokes. It's too early to make jokes.
Can they hear that I'm winking?
It's why they have to tune into the YouTube channel to see all of the winks instead of just having dead air.
What's the boy? I wish I could get you to never do that again.
Yeah. I don't know why I eat breakfast before I come here.
Dane, what you been listening to? Anything?
Oh shoot! I gotta pull this up. I'm not prepared to like talk about this.
We haven't talked about it in a few weeks.
Yeah, well, I've been listening to a lot of the new Rise Against record, so that's a good place to start. I don't know why, but I was kind of
we may talk about that in a future episode. So
yeah, I was intrigued by it. By the singles. I've been a long time Rise Against fan, but I've kind of like lost interest, and so the new singles kind of caught my eye. I've been jamming Fiddlehead's new record. Well, only record. I think it's this. It just came out though, and that one's been really interesting. And then
sidebar. Oh no, I was just saying sidebar. Tim McGrath lives down the street from me.
Yeah, really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen him walking around.
Wow, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably follow him.
No, you just gotta like be
why,
like.
Why would you follow him?
I don't know.
I'd probably hide behind some bushes and.
I don't know. I'd be like, will you sign my copy of The Unraveling on CD?
You remember when?
Sorry, I had to blow
came
my nose.
out with The Unraveling.
The honker.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'd probably follow him.
There's this other band I've been into. I shared it with you guys called Downhaul that I've found really fascinating, and I keep going back to, even though I don't know, they're really different. They got a very kind of twangy country kind of singing with some really atmospheric, gloomy post-hardcore, and I don't know, there's something about that combo that's got me thinking, and it's been really interesting. So that's me.
Cool. Very interesting. Maybe like I said, we'll talk about some of those in the future episodes. Chris, what you been jamming, buddy?
Ever since our ska episode, I've been I've been hard into listening to ska. So I've been doing like older stuff like Less Than Jake and all that. But I'm also reading in defense of ska. So it put me on to some bands that I like never listened to before. So I started listening to Skank and Pickle for the first time, which I had never really done, and the Specials. But also it led me to House. We were listening to We Are the Union. They have a music video out. In the music video, Scott Klopfenstein is the teacher in the music video. And I was like, what's that guy up to? For the record, he was the trumpet player in Real Big Fish. And then left Real Big Fish.
Yeah, you went down a rabbit hole there for a week.
I really did.
Yeah.
I really did. And then I chased him on the internet because I was like, what is he up to? Because I always loved his like voice and songs and stuff like that.
Yeah, you just follow behind him like Dan would Tim McGrath.
I'd probably just follow behind him, but not say anything. Just duck behind doors and stuff. Yeah, lurk. Lurk is a great word.
Oh, I thought you said learn. I'm like, learn stuff about him. I
Lurk.
thought that was the creepiest possible way of putting it. Like you were trying to soften it.
I'll just learn.
On Tuesdays, he cuts his lawn.
The fuck are you doing, man? Learning.
He just put out a song called "The Average Man," and it is fantastic. But it's been all ska.
Cool.
Josh, what about you? What are you listening to?
It's worth mentioning that our good buddy Jim Hankey over at Vinyl Emergency did just interview Chris from Less Than Jake, and that definitely that also sent me down a path of which was a great episode. If you haven't checked out Vinyl Emergency, please do. Great episode, and it definitely sent me down a little bit of a Less Than Jake path as well.
I had never listened to that podcast. Dan, I know you said you did before, but I never listened to it. And then like I was going through the episodes, and I was like, oh my God, this looks really dope. And so I started adding a bit.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very good.
He's very good.
We're gonna hold on. We're gonna probably need to start that Arrested Development podcast sometime.
Just to get it out.
Yeah, just to get it out of our system, guys.
I would absolutely love that. Yeah, for me, I've been listening to there's a record by Fiddlehead that just came out called Between the Richness that I've been jamming a lot lately. What's that?
The same one. It's the same one. Dave
Yeah,
was just
I already
talking
said
about.
it.
I apologize.
No,
I was
good.
Googling while you said that. So
No,
I
it's all right.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
Cool bands to talk about.
Yeah.
Did you mention that Jim Ward record as well?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, Jim Ward came out with a record, Daggers. I've been listening to that.
Really?
Yeah. Just like, I think it was maybe this week or last week. I think he just dropped it. Listening to that. And then every summer I get on a Run the Jewels kick. So I've been just really jamming some Run the Jewels. Run the Jewels, very out of our lane, but so good. Cool. Well,
I don't know if that's a more of a dad thing or a less of a dad thing. Like there's a generation of dads about our age that like have to throw on California by Tupac in the car, right? Like that was like, no.
I mean,
there's a generation
I'm not
of
saying
dads.
it's
It's not
us.
our
I'm not saying it's
generation,
us.
but there is a generation of dads. Yeah.
no, they
So I'm saying,
probably
like-
listen. They probably listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Listen to the way he said that. Look at his face when he said it. They probably listen to Bone Thugs.
Bone
Do you guys catch that Bone Thugs and Harmony reference? Bone Thugs.
Sorry.
Bone Thugs in Harmony, boys. I've been working on my Dane impression, by the way, if you can't tell.
Yeah, it's how he answers the phone now.
Yeah. My son Henry the other day was like, something about California. I go, in the city of California. And he just like laughed. He's like, what's California? And I was like, you got a lot to learn.
Kids.
Also, you may have just proved my point of that there are dads that are singing
This is
Tupac
what
at
I'm
their
saying.
children.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Or
agreeing with
Bone
you.
Thugs.
Bone Thugs in Harmony,
Bone
boys.
Thugs in there.
Bone Thugs. So yeah,
Of all the rap.
have you heard about the rap group Bone Thugs?
This episode has gone nuts already.
That's what
It's
happens when you have no agenda.
Like, it's 15 minutes of just like goofing around.
Dearest listeners, if you appreciate no agenda silliness, let us know. Yeah, so like I said, Father's Day was last weekend. What'd you guys do to celebrate Father's Day? Anything fun? Chris.
We had there was a stomach flu in my house.
That's the best, man.
We all had stomach flu.
You said the poo poo. You had poo poo.
And the throw 'em ups.
Both ends.
Both ends. 2 of them. 2 times. If you know where your father is, give me a little tap. We didn't do anything. We really didn't do anything. We were holding a bucket up to my 2-year-old. That was most of our weekend. We had all these plans and we canceled them, which was kind of nice because my wife had made all these plans. I was like, "Oh, I just want to hang out," and she was like, "Oh, well, everyone's coming over," and I was like, "I don't want that." And then luckily, my daughter got violently sick.
She really took one for the team for you.
She really did.
Yeah,
she really
absolutely.
Did. Yeah.
Well, that's fun. Dane, did you guys do anything fun for Father's Day? Any celebration?
I was on a trip visiting family in Michigan with my wife. They're my wife's family. Yeah, we didn't really. I mean, we did stuff, but I don't think it was a Father's Day thing. It was like we got Emily's cousins to come by and visit her aunt where we were staying, and we like hung out. And in the morning, I woke up with my kids super early. And when everyone woke up and said, "Oh yeah, Happy Father's Day," both of my kids were like, "It's Father's Day," and I'm like, "Yeah, this is what Father's Day. This is what Father's Day feels like."
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was some meme I saw the other day, very similar to vibe to that. Like kids are like, "Mother's Day," and then they're like, "It's Father's Day."
Yeah.
Sure.
Did you want us to draw you anything or?
No, you're good.
No, I mean I got this. I can draw this. I could draw Sonic for you if you want. No, all right, never mind. That was kind of the vibe.
Yeah.
Of my Father's Day.
Cool.
I guess.
Very cool.
Very so cool. Yeah, we didn't. Very similar. Didn't do anything special. I have mine and Chris's dad when we were growing up. Like we would be like, "Dad, what do you want to do for Father's Day?" And he'd be like, "Just don't annoy me." And so like I think I've carried a little bit of that into my fatherhood of being like peace and quiet for Father's Day. Just peace and quiet, please. Please don't cry. Please no screaming. Please no screaming for one day.
Oh man,
quiet is such our dad phrase.
So my kids. I mean, they're just sort of, because they got this ADHD tendency and this is just how they're programmed. They like just have been doing this thing where they just hum. And you literally can't stop them. So and then my 2-year-old has picked it up. So it's like 3 kids humming
really
some random song.
Humming.
Oh, I thought you meant like humming to annoy you.
No, humming a song in their head.
Back it off!
And I want you to, like, if all 3 of us just started humming something totally random at once, that's my existence. That's the life I'm in right now. And so I would take a day of peace and quiet. If we ask them, can you be like, "Shh, can you just stop humming, please?" They'll be like, "Yeah," and literally start humming. Like they're not even aware of it. Like they'll start humming again. Yeah, it's fun. It's real funny. It's a blast.
From my perspective, it's really funny.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
That's actually really funny. So because I already know the answer to this question, Dane, tell me. We were talking a little bit about our dads. Tell me a little bit about, tell me a little bit about your dad, and tell me a little bit about, his giving you an entry point into music. Give like your experience with him and music.
Yeah. Well, my dad, he's like always been an art director at this, I don't know, it's like a label company. And he's been doing it since I was born. So he's had the same kind of steady job. And that job has changed. So he's become like a copywriter and a marketing guy too. But growing up, like, he's always been like an artsy kind of techie sort of guy. He's always been like a photographer. And so I guess like lots of different kinds of creation and creative expression has like been in my family. And then, so like, like he brought home like a Mac in like 1992. And we all got to play games on it, and he brought home like camera equipment all the time. But I think probably the biggest thing was that he's been in like cover bar bands since I was like before I was born. So like every Sunday he used to have band practice, and they'd play like fucking like I don't know, like these rock and roll standards and stuff. I mean, like, I guess when I say rock and roll standards, I mean like stuff from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you know, not like old like Chuck Berry songs and stuff. But like,
how dare you?
Well, I mean, like that's a different band that does that one. My dad's band, though, I got to know all these songs, and all these people were always coming in and out, and our basement always got really loud. There was always a drum set hanging out in it, and I'd always just sort of sit on the stairs and listen to them practicing and stuff like that. So I think that was probably a big gateway into music. And then the other side of it is like we'd go on like road trips or vacations. A lot of times it'd be like, especially as I was getting older, like campouts for Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts. And my dad would listen to cassettes or CDs in his car.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like when I up until like 6th or 7th grade, I had no interest in music. Like I think my first CD I ever bought was by Hootie and the Blowfish because it.
Are you sure it wasn't Bone Thugs in Harmony?
Definitely not. Not a big Bone Thugs fan myself.
All right, take a shot.
Yeah, but like for like a hot minute there, I would listen to like popular songs on the radio and be like, "Whoa, Hootie and the Blowfish is fine," and then
unacceptable to your dad.
Well, no, not at all. But like, I feel like my dad's style of music kind of filled in a lot of gaps. So like we'd go on these road trips and we'd just listen to like Cheap Trick's greatest hits, and I'd be like, oh, okay, I like this a little better than Hootie and the Blowfish.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like I like clung on to his favorite kind of music, but it gave me an entry point. Like it was going to be rock. It wasn't going to be pop,
sure.
And it wasn't going to be hip hop. It was going to be rock. And I think as we got older, I started learning really cool stuff about my dad too. Like he shot photos for these magazines and stuff. So when I finally discovered the Ramones, he was like, okay, well, here's the Ramones' first 2 albums on vinyl. And let me tell you about the 3 times that I got to shoot photos of the Ramones while they were playing live at this place for this
awesome.
magazine. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I think my dad kind of like...
You're really cool.
Well, I mean, like music, you know, like we had a turntable that my brother and I put records on once in a while. And, you know, like listen to me, like music was playing all the time, if not on the cassette player or on the radio, you know, like it was just sort of like present in our life, you know, but seeing live music and my dad being part of that live music, and then just sort of like the right music playing at the right time in my life sort of like ushered me into it without kind of like forcing me.
It's awesome.
You know, so I guess that's the long version. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say too about your dad is that he was like the music dad to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like I myself have sat at a bar drinking a beer with your dad where him and I made plans to meet up at a bar and talk about music and talk about like what it means to be in a band and all of this other stuff. And
I was there for that one, I think. One of those, yeah.
Yeah, well, like whatever. Mm-hmm. But then also, aside from the fact that he generously provided practice space for us when we were, you know,
and
playing music and stuff.
And repairs.
Yeah, you know, I guess I take for granted that stuff, right? Like,
and then I was gonna add to it. Well, after we were in a band that, like, I had any rights or we had any rights bothering your dad, he then came and did sound for us for our newer band. Like he's a guy that like he's like the music dad for everybody. For sure. Like it's not he like impacts has that a good impact?
You know, my dad, I take some of that stuff for granted because, you know, like there has always been a PA available in our house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
it's a rare, it's a more rare thing for sure.
And a good one.
yeah, not like a shit PA,
like
here's a soundboard and 2 power amps, and don't forget to turn on the compressor, and you know, like that kind of stuff.
Right. These are like things you know how to operate because
I mean,
the order to do it in.
Yeah.
Kind of. And the other weird thing too is like, I'm sure framing my, you know, all dads are more than just, you know, one dimensional.
Yeah.
You know,
I was specifically referring to this lane that you've been going over. So
my dad was the scoutmaster, and my dad was a, you know, like has always fixed up his own house, so he knows how to do all that kind of stuff. The music part's a pretty important part though, and so when you say like he's sort of like the band dad, like some dads become like, you know, like football coaches, and that's the identity that they kind of like sit in.
Like friends come over and they call him coach.
Yeah, for sure.
What's up, coach?
Hey, coach, can I snag a quick beer from the fridge, coach? Sure.
You boys be safe.
Get out there. Get out there, huh?
My dad was definitely my dad was like a band dad, where even like if he didn't love the music my band was playing, he'd still come to the shows. He would still offer to do sound.
Oh yeah.
If he came to a show and the PA was inadequate, he'd be like,
"Oh yes,
fucking PA sucked.
Oh,
you couldn't hear any of the
so
highs.
so many shows. He'd be like, "You guys sound great, but
The PA is
fucking idiot running sound." And I'd be like, "Oh really?" I'm like, "Why didn't you say anything?" He's like, "Yeah, it's not my place." And I'm like, "No, it is your place."
My dad is so funny about, like, I've come to know that he's gonna judge the sound, the quality of the, you know, like the sound guy, and he's gonna, you know, this is sort of the funny kind of way he is with music and all that. So anyway, my dad's kind of he's interesting in that way.
Yeah. Chris, since we have the same dad, I'm going to let you run this one. But yeah, similar question. Tell me how our dad, how he had a part in your life in music. You know, tell me more about like his kind of you having an introduction to you in music and how that's been for you.
Yeah, I don't know if our dad specifically, like,
I'll stop pretending that he isn't our dad as well.
Yeah. He's very much like a quintessential blue collar worker, meaning that like everything's with your hands, everything's like some sort of boiler or pump or venting or something like that. He's the kind of guy that like always goes like, "Oh, that was dumb how you did that electrical work. Like you should do it this way or whatever." But musically, I would say the thing we don't probably give enough credit for is like he didn't really understand what we were doing or why we were doing it. Again, it's like a complete difference of like,
right.
He's a blue collar guy. You know, he listened to like Glenn Miller Band if he was like picking music and stuff like that.
Like Sinatra because he's Italian. Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely. I would say the one thing that like really, and Josh, you have the better memory out of both of us. So you probably have more to say than I do. But the one thing I remember vividly is just always having that Beach Boys cassette in the van. And so like, I feel like that did something to us. It's like listening to, it was like the greatest hits, the Beach Boys greatest hits. And I remember like maybe they were working or something. We were sitting in the green van. Maybe it wasn't the green van, the red van, whatever. And listening to Barbara Ann. Like I remember Barbara Ann being a song that I remember from being like 8 or whatever.
Yeah.
But our parents always did a really good job at being like, all right, like they used to give us the Suburban to go play shows and like all of this stuff. They were never they've
always come out,
come to shows or whatever. It was never like, oh, you know, in contrast to your dad, Dane, like they were never like, here's music we listen to and check this out and do all that. But they never got in the way, and they constantly supported, you know, specifically Dad and both of them constantly supported us to go like, I don't know, they're playing shows tonight. We'll go to the show and
I mean, even now when that's still happening. But one of the biggest things I'll give my dad credit for too is, I remember I wasn't even in junior high yet. I was in 6th grade, and I was like, I want to start playing guitar. And my dad's like, okay, let's do it. And then he's like, Laura, he wants to play guitar. And she's like, okay. So they were like, let's go to Sam's Club and get you a guitar. And then they bought me an acoustic with the action was like 3 inches tall.
Yeah.
But I mean, they had no idea, and neither did I. But they were all like, they were all on board with it. And they never were like, you know, like if I was in my room being awful at guitar, they were never knocking on the door and being like, hey, you need to stop. That never happened. You know, it was always very supportive. Yeah, like Chris said, my dad never really like got punk rock or got rock and roll, but you know, like you said, always he'll come out the shows and he'll be like, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the high
Yeah,
watermark.
that's
You
it.
know,
That's
that's
it.
it.
That's it.
He's like, oh, people were moving on that one. Yep.
Or he'll make comments about where
No.
he couldn't hear the sound. like I was back there and I couldn't hear Joshua, but
Yeah,
I could hear
like,
a lot of Christopher.
But he'll always go like, now you guys played some new ones, right? And like, yeah, we did. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed.
So I guess with that said, where do you think you're like? I mean, you guys are as music dudes as I feel like anyone I know. Like, where do you think that comes from? If maybe
like
not your, if maybe
like
not
being
your
music.
dad.
It's funny, like because like you and your dad were like music was a big part of your life, but it wasn't who your dad like exactly necessarily who your dad was. That wasn't it at all in our house until we started hanging out with kids that were into music. You know, as we became of age and started developing and being like, oh, okay, yeah, like Bad Religion is a thing, Rancid's a thing, and like.
Well, I was gonna take a step back and say that like I think we started like our friends started listening to music, but then we discovered that like our older brother liked music and he liked stuff that was like
Like he
punk adjacent.
Yeah, he would like Offspring and Sublime and like you know, I'm trying to think of like other adjacent things he would listen to, but I mean, so yeah, like it wasn't a big part of our house, but it was just kind of one of those things that was like, if that's what you're into, you know, so like props where props are given, and then you know, as you develop as a youth, and you keep going down that lane, it was always supported, you know. So yeah, it's kind of a weird thing that like nobody in our family is musical. We don't come from like a musical family. I don't know what you would say. We come from like a pasta family. I don't know, but you know, like I don't like. There's no like.
Everyone comes from a pasta
you know the Marcantes. They're really a blank family. Like they're a sports family, and dad is coach. Hey, coach. That's not a thing, but you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that is an interesting question. Like how does that get inherited? My other question that I wanted to ask, you know, now that all of us are dads, what, Chris, I'll start with you. What's what has been your experience now that we are dads and music dudes? What's that experience been like for you in relation to being a music dude and being a dad? Like, you know, and how you like Dane's dad fed his kids music. Didn't push, but fed. Yeah. You know, how's that been for you so far for being a dad?
Yeah, Olive's relatively young. My daughter Olive is relatively young, and so like it's just mostly been we constantly have music and we constantly have instruments and we constantly like she's got her own little drum set and her own guitar and all that stuff. And so for me, it's just like I want her to. She doesn't have to play music. She doesn't have to write music. She doesn't have to do any of that stuff. I just want her to like have music to be able to like help her live a better life. And I want her to be like
a more rounded, yeah.
And not even rounded, because like for me, and I'm sure the same thing for you guys, like music is a thing that like helps me cultivate my feelings and my emotions. And like when I'm feeling one way, I like to jam these records, and when I'm feeling fantastic, I like to jam those records. And like it just adds to it, like amplifies moods, or if I'm trying to counteract moods, it like does all those different things. And so like that's what I want to make sure she has the ability to do, is go like this music makes me feel a certain way, and I want to listen to that music. I feel like there are some households that grow up that like, I mean, kind of similar to our household, Josh, of like, music isn't a huge thing, so like, it's not always out in the background, and so I just want her to be able to like know it, feel it, and be creative about how she interacts with it. We have the luxury of doing band practice here, so she loves playing drums with our drummer and, like doing all of these different things and falling asleep to listening to us do band practice and stuff like that. So I think she's got the extra level of like, like being around it. But that's like the most important thing to me to give to her is like being able to grow up with music so that she can find her own path through it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be funny what they say about like you and me and Dane, like when they're older, and like these stories that we have about our dads, and then what they're gonna say, and like the things that we are intentionally and unintentionally giving to them or experiencing with them. Dane, your experience is a little different. You're not having band practice at the house, but obviously your house is flooded with music.
Yeah.
What's that like? What's that like being a music dude and being a dad?
Yeah, I feel like the same as Chris. Like like I really hope that my kid can use music in the same way, like to kind of help have that as a tool to help make sense of the world. But I also am kind of conscious of like being too forceful and cramming it down their throat, so like I mean they know what a drum set is and it looks like, because there's always been one in the house, and though I don't always play it when they're around because that nap time is not the right time to be playing drums and stuff, like they have seen and heard me play drums, and they know I'm a drummer and all that kind of stuff. So that's a thing that they know they always have access to that instrument. We've set up a snare drum and bought some cool special like wood burned drumsticks for them to like hit a snare drum anytime they want to. It's kind of like theirs. I recently bought a guitar. I've been going through this thing where I'm trying to find a guitar that's like a guitar kids could hack on, but also if they ever really wanted to play guitar and like stand on stage at the talent show, like it wouldn't be a terrible guitar that would fall out of tune with the first chord that they hit or something.
And you feel like you found one?
I think so.
I feel like.
Wait, what did you go with?
I
definitely threaded the needle with it. Yeah.
Did you think so? Because I was gonna.
Wait, what did you go with?
Absolutely.
I bought a Dan Electro, a U2, so it's kind of got that like Les Paul shape.
I saw you.
Yes.
You took a picture of that one.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I was hunting for one, trying to find the right price because we didn't want to spend more than a couple $100s, but then also you can't really get a guitar that threads the needle for a couple $100. Like any guitar that's not gonna like fall apart is gonna be more than a couple $100. I don't know. It was
yeah.
I was trying to talk to Emily into that, and Emmett and I drove to Villa Park to Guitar Center to buy it, and we were just like, that's a guitar we just want to have out. We've had this bass guitar just sort of hanging out. That was the guitar my dad had lying around.
We've all jammed on that.
On the hand bass, yeah. But the problem with the hand basses is a bass guitar, and they can barely hold strings down, and
it's big.
Yeah, well, it's also a really small bass. This one's like a real guitar, and so they can just pick it up and strum it and hit it and do whatever they want with it. And so I want to have music in the house. Oh, we also have like this microphone on like a mini microphone stand like in the living room, and every one of our kids has just grabbed it. And it's like it's like a real mic stand and a real microphone and stuff. So it's not like a play thing. It's really funny when they just grab it and start dancing and singing with it. When we were on vacation in Michigan, one of the first things my middle child Finn said to my wife's aunt was, "Our house is real loud because Dada is always listening to music."
That's not a bad thing.
I mean, it's not, but it was kind of a funny comment to come out of nowhere. Like he just needed
really awesome.
He needed to get that off his chest because it was so quiet up there. And so music's
he was contrasting.
Yeah, music's just a thing that's always playing. We always got the record player going. I think it'll be funny when my kids talk about records and record players, and their friends are like,
"Huh?
What?" I mean, and not in that
Your dad's
sort of
weird.
like, not in that sort of like, I don't know what that is sort of way, but in that sort of like, that's the thing you have at your house. Do you guys have rotary phones and stuff too? Like,
I don't know. I just tell Alexa to play,
Kids Bop. No, it would probably be Old Town Road. But anyway, the point is like, that music is a thing that I guess I try to think of it like it's a thing that's always playing in the car, like, it's a thing that's always playing in our house. So I don't dumb it down and listen to Disney radio. No. I just listen to what I'm in the mood for. So my kids are listening to music with screaming, and they're listening to fast music or slow music or weird noodly jammy music or whatever. Like, they're just, and I think at some point, I'm hoping that at some point, without me pushing them too hard, it'll just sort of click, and they'll be like, oh, well, I think I like this. Or, like the other thing is my 9-year-old Emmett, he's like, I think I've talked about Friday Night Funkin' in here. Have I? That game?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's still super into it. They're both really into it. The soundtrack is on Apple Music, so he'll just like.
Yeah, you were saying how like that's like all you've been listening to.
Yeah, I'm over it because we've literally been listening.
You're over it.
Yeah, we've been listening to it a lot, and I'm kind of over it. But like yesterday, he just sat on the couch with his headphones on, listening to it for like an hour.
That's pretty cool.
And part of me was like, well, it's kind of dorky video game music. It's not terrible video game music. But then the other part of me is like, man, but this is him feeling a connection to music, and that's literally all I want, no matter how dorky the songs are.
Yeah, so that's why I wonder, like, if how many kids are like Chris and I did not grow up with like a dad, filtering music through us or necessarily even supplying like, oh, you should listen to this, you should listen to that. But then we turned out the way we did, and I wonder, like, now this next generation that we're raising of us being like, music, not forcing them, but just being like, hey, this is constantly something you have access to, constantly something that, is in your life, and what that actually means for the next generation as well. Very similar to what you guys said. Yeah. I won't say anything really that's different. It's always on, it's always blasting. They're always listening to what I'm listening to. And then we get stuck on like, they want to jam the Ninja Turtles theme song in the car over and over, the Ghostbusters theme, they know some of the words to the Hamilton musical, because I told you guys I jam that all the time. One thing that was actually really fun that we were doing the other day at dinner was I found the Mario Odyssey soundtrack on YouTube. So we're playing a game where, like, okay, I'm gonna play one of the songs on the Mario Odyssey soundtrack, and you have to tell me what level it is. And they're like, okay. And both my 3-year-old and my 5-year-old can do it like that. Like, oh, I know where this level is. I know where so what I'm actually training them to do is be like, I'm like, don't think about the music, think about what it makes you feel when you hear this song. And they're like, okay. And so like, da, 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 and they're like, oh, okay, I'm at the waterfall, and this is Fossil Falls. And I'm like, exactly. So we do this thing where it's like, how does this music make you feel? And how that associates with, like, so now we're driving in the car and like they want to listen to a certain song, and it's like, how does that song make you feel? What does it make you think of when so it's relating those two things of like, it's not the music you listen to, it's where does it sit in your brain? Mm-hmm. Cool. And our dad was just like, it's Frank Sinatra.
I get it.
Here's a good question, Dane. Have there been any moments in your life like that? Like, for me, that's been like a moment where it's like, my kids they're like kind of getting it. They're kind of getting this music thing that I'm trying to pass on. Have there been any moments that you can think of where like you're like, oh, I think I'm doing the right thing here with music, like, just even if it's just having it in their lives or having it in the house where they can, like, you see him sitting on the couch jamming a record that's his own thing. Have there been any like standout moments for you where it's like, I think I'm doing the right thing as a dad with music?
Yeah, I think I've been thinking a lot about the fact that my kids just want to listen to music. So like they have phones, which I know is like, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother parenting podcast. But Like when our phones, when we like, I guess we didn't really level up our phones, but we did get new phones. We just gave our old ones to our kids and like put them in really fancy cases so they could never break. And they're just glorified iPads that don't go obsolete so quickly. Right. But it has allowed us to kind of give them like Apple Music accounts so that they can like save records that they're interested in. And Emmett's been doing that a lot. And I don't know, I guess I've been thinking like that's kind of a victory for me as a parent, that he's just likes music enough to want to save certain songs and stuff like that. He's exploring things he likes through music.
It's awesome to be able to have that tool that young.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like,
I know, right?
I mean, it's I guess it's both sides of the coin too, of like, I don't know what I should be, but the discovery portion of finding your way through it using Apple Music, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then there's this, like, my son, Finn, is really like, I don't know, man. He's like, he feels music in a different way. And so I think to some extent he's grown out of it a bit. But like when he was younger, he really, really liked Ghost for some reason. And still now sometimes asks to put it on. He really feels those songs and knows it.
I remember when he was in that phase.
I don't know if it's just like it's more theatrical metal or something, but he really, really likes he really likes it, and he really liked the Frozen soundtrack too. I mean, which couldn't be more different. But my son Finn feels musical differently, to the point where like he would stand at a microphone and lip sync songs and pretend to play guitar and stuff like that. And so I guess I kind of feel like that's a bit of a victory too. As they get older, they're a little. I feel like
just one victory. Chris, go ahead. No, okay.
I was just gonna say they don't. I don't feel like it's as big as it used to be, because as they're older, they're a little shyer, I think, about sharing what they, especially with my older one, Emmett. Like he just wants to be left alone and listen to music and doesn't want to talk about it. And it's like, okay, it's fine.
I get that.
Isn't that just you, by the way? Like you like talking about music now, but I can't imagine that was what you used to be like.
I mean, yeah, totally. I mean, it also could be like, Dad, fucking leave me alone, man. I'm doing my thing. Like,
for sure.
But whatever it is,
awful.
So it's not always as visible to me, but those do feel like little victories, I guess.
That's cool. Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Like them learning to already express themselves in that arena, in that lane of music, I think that's a huge victory for sure. Definitely, because you want your kids to show who they are, express who they are, and even if that's just like, hey, I just want to sit here and be left alone and kind of like dive into this and don't talk to me. Like I totally understand that. And I actually do think that that's a big victory. Chris,
Josh, you go. I'm interested in hearing what your big victories are. It's got to be with Eleanor.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you talk about your first and your second, because like, I think like every first dad, we're like, oh, everything's gonna be, we're gonna play drum, we're gonna, and like my first one, I think he's like, he's more of a dancer than like a music guy. So like I think of my two, like my older son's like a dancer and my daughter's like a singer. And my daughter got more of like
song and dance man.
Yeah, he's a dance man. My daughter got more of the musical thing between the two of us. But at the same time, like he'll do this thing where like my wife gets something stuck in her head and she'll sing the same line from a song over and over and over and over and over and over again throughout the house. And I'm like, you have to shut up with that line. You have to sing another line. Sing one more line. And my son will do that now. So I'm like, it's actually very adorable, where I'm like, hey pal, any other line of this song would be great.
Let's just do any other one.
So like to see him to like dance is, I'm like, oh, you're expressing yourself through music and you're not afraid. And I'm like, rip it and we'll dance all the time. But my daughter definitely has more of like the musical bug between the two of us. So she's just like, she's a maniac in like the best possible way. So she just like, to see her like at 3 go like, I don't think this is rare. I don't think this is exceptional. I just think that to see her like pick out her favorite songs and then just want to sing them at 3 is like, just for me to like step back and be like, I love that. Like it's just again expressing yourself because you had exposure to it, and now I know that about you, and you know that about you, is a little dad victory. So, Chris,
I think, and I'll try and be quick, but I think the I can narrow it down to one like song almost. Is that on the Troll soundtrack?
Oh yeah,
they sing True Colors. The first Troll song, they sing True Colors, and the Justin Timberlake one sings it to the Anna Kendrick one when they're feeling sad, and so he's trying to make her feel better, and he sings True Colors. Like, I see your true colors.
Keep going.
I see your true colors.
We all know what the song sounds like, guys. Just
that's why
we don't need a.
So don't be afraid.
I was waiting for the 2-part harmony there. I'm glad I got it.
Well,
nailed it.
you know us. Also, this can't go on YouTube now.
No, that's true. We just hit copyright issues.
Whoopsies.
But she discovered a song that helps her deal with her emotions, which is like a crazy thing. And so now what happens is she'll go, Dad, get your guitar. And so we'll both play guitar and she'll sing True Colors whenever she's like feeling sad. And so that's like that's like, I keep, and I don't know if you guys feel this, and I'm sure you do, but I keep going like, oh, we should check out this song or this band or this thing or whatever, and she'll always not go that direction. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, hey, I've been trying to, I generally speaking don't like girl singers, as you guys well know. It's not something for me, but I keep thinking like, oh, I got to put more girl music in the rotation so she like identifies with it. And so I'm always like, oh, we should listen to like Against Me, or we should listen to Answering Machine or whatever. Or the Interrupters or whatever, and I'm like trying to put it in there, and she's like, Branch and Poppy, or she loves Hold Me Holy by Justin Bieber or whatever. Like, it's never the thing that I want her to listen to. It's always
she gets a lot of exposure to Justin Bieber then, huh?
She heard it one time on the radio, and now every morning on the drive to school,
Chris, I got access to your Apple Music, buddy. I know what you're listening to.
It's in there because of her.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my big victory. She loves playing guitar and singing True Colors.
That's cool.
Well, we're wrapping up here, but the final question I have for you guys, and I'll start it because I've been passing along to you. But the last question I had for you two was, we've kind of brushed upon it, but something that you're looking forward to, about being a dad in music, something that like, seeing your future, seeing the things that you're providing and exposing to with music, something that you're looking forward to. I am preparing myself to like openly weep at like, school recitals, and I'm very excited for that to, like I always disliked going to those like, here's the third graders Christmas special, and we're like, oh,
bring them out,
God. Bring them out. I'm gonna be like, jingle bells. Yeah. That's my baby. No, I'm very excited for that. I'm looking forward to that.
Mine's third from the left, over on the top.
You see my little angel? Yeah, she's precious, isn't she? I'm very much looking forward to those kind of things. I'm really looking forward to like, the thing I'm really excited for is I want to go to whatever they're into. I want to go to that show when they're way too young. And I know Dane's had a little bit of taste of this with like Aquabats, but like I want to go to shows when they're way too young. Like we went to Bad Religion just before pandemic hit, and there was this kid there, and he was like 10.
Yeah,
and
pretty young.
He was young, and he was there with his dad, and I was like watching the two of them like enjoy this music together, and like I leaned over and I go, just so you know, dude, you're awesome, and so is your dad. And then they were like, oh, thank you, So I can't wait to go to shows with my two when they're way too young, and like have this experience of like, I went to whatever with, and then for them to have that memory of like, oh, I went to whatever with my dad, and he was there for me, even though he hated it, but he was there, or didn't necessarily hated it, but so I'm really looking forward to that. Dane, what's something that you're looking forward to as a music dad?
I think that I'd like to say that I'd like to see them starting bands and playing shows and shitty like little holes in the wall and stuff. But I don't know if that's a thing that'll actually happen. So more realistically, I'm just excited to see my kids connect with music and want to talk about it. I just want to it'll be cool to just talk about what they like about music and to be able to turn them on. Like when they finally land on the thing that they like and they're like, this is the thing I want. Like, I'm going to do a deep dive and be like, well, I mean, if you like this new Metallica record, we should probably talk about Ride the Lightning a little bit. I think that'll be cool to help them find music. And even if I can't help them find new music, it'll be exciting to just talk to them about why they like it and what moves them about it, or what about it moves them.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be fun to give them that like context, of like, hey, here's what you're listening to, but like, who were these people and why were they writing that music when they were, and that kind of stuff.
It's such an important thing to show them how to find other things that they like, right? Like
give them that skill set of.
I feel like everyone always talks about liner notes for our age and generation of like how to find the band's band and the whatever. I think it's different nowadays. I think it's probably easier nowadays, like finding interviews and stuff like that with different bands, but teaching them how to go like, if you like this, you'll probably like this, but discovering it on their own agenda and path and stuff like that. For sure.
Or even like, hey, this person that you're in that you're listening to didn't exist in a isolated thing. You can see where their influences come from, and you can follow that trail and be like, hey, like if you, to your point, Chris, if you like this, here's where they got it from. Chris, something that you're looking forward to as a dad.
It's probably a combination of both of you guys. Like, I would love for her to play in a band. I would love for her to write music. I'd love for her to like not just absorb and like maneuver around music, but like try and be creative and find a way to like be a part of it and be like, from that perspective. The thing I'm looking forward to the most is like Amanda, my wife, really wants her to take piano lessons, which I think is a good idea, but like also, come on. but I would love to go to a piano recital or like a singing recital or something, like, just watching her do, and it doesn't even have to be a recital, I guess, like now thinking about it, but like just watching her do her thing and like want to do her thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Instead of
for
going,
sure.
like, do this thing, and instead she like found the thing she wanted to do, and I guess it goes for everything outside of music as well, but found the thing she wants to do, and then like watching her try to do it. That's the thing I think I'm most excited for. But I hope she does pick up, like, I hope, having band practice here and all this other stuff is worth it, and that she goes like, oh, I'd love to just play drums or something. I know girl drummers are always so cool, but that's it's a combination.
As long as she doesn't sing, though, right?
I was gonna say the same thing. I was holding back though,
because you said you don't like girl singers. So.
I was holding back.
Hey, sweetheart, why don't you down?
Get away from that mic.
Listen, I love it. I'm your dad.
Drumsticks.
I love that you're a singer. The world doesn't. Okay,
it's literally like, listen, I'm glad you're singing, and I'm just never gonna listen to it, okay?
I'm never gonna like it.
You can do it. You're hurting your dad, okay? You're just hurting.
Do you want to make me sad? Keep singing, okay?
Now you're gonna have to sing True Colors because I'm sad.
Because you you walk away. Okay, great. I see. Oh my God, my dad's sad. Let's wrap it up here.
My dad's sad with singing.
That's the only way she knows how to communicate that. Cool. Well, thank you guys for indulging me on this very Father's Day centric episode. I hope this was at least somewhat fun for the other dads out there listening to it. I hope that they can relate to us in a lot of ways. I hope we weren't too overindulgent. We'll get back to the regularly scheduled program next week. Probably start maybe getting in the same room. Probably start getting some guests. It's been 10 episodes, so let's start branching out a little bit more. With that said, Chris, where can people find what you're up to?
The throwbackchicago.com, we just put out a very funny video,
It was good.
which has now been flagged
Dane
as
reviewed it as
misinformation.
Dane reviewed it as magnificent.
It's good. It was good. I laughed a
It was
lot.
good. Did you? Good.
Who's the voice? I have to ask. Who's the voice of
Boys. Boys.
I wasn't, I didn't want to make any assumptions. Like, it could have just as easily have been Brandon, but
This is your favorite doctor, Dr. Fauci. How are you, boys? How are you doing?
Unfortunately, it's been flagged as COVID disinformation, so it is not getting the reach we were hoping for. But
When you post it and Facebook's like, "Hey, don't don't do this. Don't do this."
I tried to go share it, and Facebook was like, "Make sure you're not sharing misinformation of COVID." I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah. Cool. Throwbacks, you said?
Yes.
Anything coming up with the throwbacks?
Lots of shows. We got all July 5th, July 14th, July 16th, July 31st.
So if you live in the greater Chicagoland area, come on by.
You can find us somewhere. That
There
is
you
for
go.
sure.
Dane, anything going on that you'd like to tell people about?
yeah, just we're still releasing singles for some new stuff by Broken Field Runner with my record label Jetsam Flotsam. So Google that. You could find us at jetsam-flotsam.bandcamp.com. We're also going to be, by the time this airs, probably have re-released the first EP by Living Room, which is what turned me onto them many, many years ago, almost 10 years ago.
That's awesome.
Digitally. So,
That's
but it'll
cool.
be
That's very
remastered and remixed and all that stuff. So, yeah,
Well, that's
exciting
very awesome.
stuff.
Cool. Yep. And then for me, it's going to be here. You can shoot us an email at rockandrollbrunch@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram, where we are posting, and you can keep up to date with when we go live and all that stuff, because it is random. Because you never know what we're gonna post. No, we do keep it pretty regular every other week, but I mean, you just never know. So
It's called Surprise and Delight, John.
shock and awe.
Shock.
Sometimes we go. One of us goes on vacation, and then the other one goes on vacation, and then it's a month, and who knows. But yeah, find us there. With that, thank you guys for joining me. Chris, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Josh.
You're very welcome. Dane, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
welcome.
You're very well. And the Dr. Fauci is here.
Now we're gonna get flagged again.
Dr. Fauci's here, and he wants to say, check, please.